What's up, everybody? Lance here, co-founder of BH Capital Enterprises, also team leader of the Abacus Group. And the Abacus Group is a system put together by its founder, James Tompkins, for the purpose of teaching Black people how to build generational wealth, long-term generational wealth in the markets. So, with my business, BH Capital Enterprises, I offer specialized teaching. The Box Group does as well, but my specialties are the cannabis industry, as well as teaching people how to read charts. So, the topic of discussion for this video is going to be how I can use technical analysis, or not technical analysis, but charts specifically, to enhance my DMR skill set. So the DMR is a system that James Tompkins, the Abacus founder, put together uh, that basically helps or teaches uh, people how to go out into the markets on a daily basis and find opportunity to make money. So I recently participated in the first cycle of the DMR training. Learned a lot. It allowed me to brush up on my fundamental skills. The DMR training does involve some technical components, some components of technical analysis, but not charts. So, how can learning to read a chart enhance my DMR skill set? So first, you see Facebook here on my on the screen here, but I'm going to bring up my DMR from yesterday. So this is my DMR from yesterday. I had Facebook puts on Facebook at the 200 strike, but I went out to March on the expiration. I haven't updated this yet to reflect how this particular contract performed. I did trade Facebook, but I traded the January 31st strike. So the contract's expiring today is the contract that I actually traded. But I had puts on Alibaba as well, and that goes out to February 14th, and so that encompasses Alibaba's earnings. And then I had Tesla puts as a gunslinger. So puts all day yesterday for my DMR. And this Tesla put performed, pretty well, as Tesla opened in the 600 range, high 600s, and then dropped down to 618 before bouncing upward again. So uh, definitely some opportunity there. But anyway, I want to talk specifically about Facebook. So they missed on earnings expectations yesterday, and I made a note to myself to be careful on the entry, because the current chart setup this time yesterday morning hinted at something that I like to call a hike and fade or a pop and drop. Um, and so my thought process was to go out on the expiration because I believe it has the potential to drop to 200 or lower before the next quarterly report, which will be sometime, maybe April or something like that. I'm not sure. And so the last piece of information that I gave to myself was to look for Facebook's share price to run up to, 208 to 210 during yesterday's session. So let me go back to Facebook chart. So this notice that on Thinkorswim platform, one area is sort of gray, and then it goes black, and then it goes gray again. So black represents market activity, during the hours that the market is open. The gray area is after hours and pre-market activity. So markets are closed during this time. So when I was doing my DMR yesterday and looking at Facebook, Facebook was trading for, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the 207 range, somewhere in the, somewhere in this range. And let me see, 845. No, actually, yeah, it was in the 207 range, but it was much earlier in the session. So I was up, so somewhere right here. So still, in the 207 range, but I was somewhere in this area as it was quite early. So what I saw in the chart was that I felt as though Facebook would potentially make a run for it um, right out the gate. So right out the gate, I felt like Facebook would be bullish, and so I knew not to buy puts right at the open. Um, but as you can see, if you bought puts right at the open, you had to get in and get out quick because Facebook opened at let's see here, 206.53 and dropped to a low of 204.75 within the matter of 15 minutes, a lot less than 15 minutes. So you would have had to really, really, really be paying attention on that contract and uh, ready to move quickly. So I knew that in order for my contract to be the most viable for me, that I would have to be very patient on this one. Uh, so I really could have bought the dip right at the open and sold, somewhere near the high. So Facebook did go out a little bit outside of my price range that I provided. It actually went to a high of 211.43 yesterday. So $1.43 outside of my range of 208 to 210. Um, so there was potentially good profit making to this upside. So I really could have and should have played calls at the open and then turned around and bought puts when I saw the signal to buy to the downside. But it was really an exercise in patience in seeing the uh, potential of that play. So I had to wait about 45 minutes or so before I could jump in on my put options. So once I saw Facebook hit to 1143, I was like, okay, is this thing going to keep running? I really feel like it's not, but I watched it, just a little bit longer. So once I saw it start to fade and this candlestick uh, move back down in a 210 range, this is where I bought put options. So bought put options here, wrote it down to uh, I wrote it down to like low 208s and I got out. Uh, Grabbed about 30 something percent returns on that position, and that was it. A pretty well executed play uh, using my chart reading skills. I use my DMR training skills, my DMR skill set to make a determination on what I thought Facebook would do. But I'm pretty sure some people may have lost out on Facebook puts because the probably the how can I say this, strategy in terms of entry and exit wasn't there, you know. So it's too much like right to say, to feel as though Facebook is gonna, go down or continue to go down because they missed expectations when it comes to their quarterly earnings. But you have to keep in mind that Facebook before immediately before their announcement, they were trading in the $225 range, and it dropped all the way down to low 200s. So that's a pretty significant drop. So before the markets even opened, a lot of that drop was already priced in. So if I wouldn't say it requires charts to know that, because you can clearly see without looking at a chart that, Facebook dropped over $16 uh, after that earnings announcement. So that's something that you have to consider is, okay, so the markets have already started to price in that downside move. Now I have to really consider that in my strategy. So those are things that I think about. So like I said, I use the skills that I learned with the DMR training to find plays, but I use technical analysis. Let me stop saying technical analysis. I use charts because technical analysis goes well beyond learning to read a chart. So I have to check myself on that. Just a little habit. But so I use charts to determine whether the play is viable. And by viable, I just mean whether it's worth playing. Um, and I also use charts to be a lot more strategic, or try to be a lot more strategic about my entry and exit when it comes to my DMR pick. So that's pretty much it. I do have a low priced technical analysis course for Abacus members that is 120 bucks. If you would like to get hold of that information, just get with me. I also have my HTO and HTOA workshops, and that's High Tech Options and High Tech Options Accelerated. And so the High Tech Options course, HTO, 16 weeks long, so 4 months you'll learn how to read charts and some other components of technical analysis, and you'll learn those things alongside me and trade with me and things like that. And then but you also get a hold to my technical trading template, which is patent pending, and that basically allows you to be a lot more thorough in your research when it comes to reading charts. And then on the other side of the coin is High Tech Options Accelerated, which is a 6-week course where you learn to read charts and I teach you my strategy, and you also trade alongside me in a group setting, and you learn these things that I've learned, plus a whole lot more. And I'll talk a bit more about um, my chart reading offerings in a separate video coming in the near future. But yeah, so very, very, very beneficial to learn to read a chart when, uh, as a supplement to your DMR training. So if you are in the DMR training, you've taken the DMR training, you've also participated in, high tech options, or you purchased and studied the Abacus TA course that teaches how to read charts. You should definitely, absolutely be using your skill set with learning and being able to see price action on a chart as a supplement to your DMR training. And I'm sure, many of you have been right, in the plays that you chose, but your strategy with getting into the play and or getting out of the play just wasn't there. So not always, like I just demonstrated with Facebook, not always would be just, a simple drop or run right at the open. because the narrative is there. You have to consider price action, and charts allow you to see that price action, to visualize that price action, and you can definitely use that to your advantage. I most certainly do. Another thing is a lot of us choose multiple companies in our DMR. So as you can see, I had three: Alibaba, Facebook, and Tesla. And I also use charts to help me to determine which may be the most viable play. So in this instance, every DMR that I've done, I've never traded a loser. So uh, most of my DMRs, I might have one loser, maybe. I tend to put, no more than 4 or 5 positions on my DMRs or picks for my DMRs. Uh, Most of the time, it's going to be like right at 3, maybe. 4 is a heavy day, but sometimes I even choose 1. It just depends. But I've never traded a loser, and that's because I can see the price action on a chart. So I can look at a chart and say, oh well, pick number 5 is not is going to be a no go today because XYZ on the chart. Um, so instead of saying, okay, I'm going to, instead of looking at my DMR and saying, okay, I got 4 positions and I got $1,000, and I'm going to spread this $1,000 across all 4 of these plays, and I'm just going to, see how it plays out. I like my odds. I'm fine with losing on 1 or 2 plays as long as, the other 2 make up for that. So that's cool, but that's not enough for me personally. I have to say, is there a way for me to decipher from jump which plays may or may not be worth trading? And that allows me to instead say, instead of spreading $1,000 across 4 plays, maybe I could spread $1,000 across 3 or 2, or maybe even 1, if I find that only one of them is a viable play. Um, so I like those odds a whole lot better. So that's it. That's really crucial, and that's really how you can use charts to enhance your DMR skill set. And just one more time, I have an Abacus TA course for specifically for Abacus members. That one is $120. And then I have my HTO and HTOA workshops that are more expensive, but I do offer installment plans. So if you have any questions about that, or you want to participate, contact me. My email is lance@bhcapitalenterprises.com. Find me on social media, BH Capital Enterprises LLC, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or if you just have general questions about, charts and how they can help, I'm happy to talk about it.